Hello and welcome to Geeky Brummie here at EGX 2018 at the NEC in Birmingham. As you can probably tell, I'm joined by Mr. Cade6 from Destiny. Going to be having a great time, bit of fun, so we'll catch you in a little bit. So I've just played Starlink from Ubisoft, which is coming out on all the major platforms, Xbox One, Switch, PlayStation 4. Each one is going to have an individual ship. I was playing the Switch version. There was an exclusive R-Wing. Really interesting little way of doing it with little ship models, very similar to something like Skylanders or Disney Infinity if you've tried that. It's little figures. So you pick your captain, you pick your ship, and then you can swap ships, you can swap weapons, you can swap wings on it, you can add multiple wings to different ships. Quite an interesting concept. The game reminded me quite a lot of the Lilac Wars, if you remember that, on the N64. So it was kind of like a lot of air and ground-based combat, so you can mix between the two, lots of enemies to fight around. It's a really interesting mission that I was playing where it was basically trying to take down a giant tower. So it's kind of a bit like Monster Hunter, where you have these big bosses where you have to take them out.
What would you rate it?
Out of 10, probably about 7 or 8. It's not my kind of game, but I can understand that people who like these kind of stuff like Disney Infinity, where you collect the models as well and you get some nice figurines, you can have a really cool way of playing something like that. With Bruno from Shadow, who's going to tell us all about the amazing streaming service that you guys provide.
Yeah, so Shadow is basically a 2-year-old company now. Core idea was people love to play but do not love to change components over time. You know, it's costly, sometimes you have hardware failures, and basically people just want to play and enjoy their PC. So what we took components of the PC, put them in data centers, entirely secured, and basically we stream a crystal clear 4K picture of your PC anywhere in the world. So the idea with Shadow is like basically you can compare it to Netflix or Spotify, but instead of streaming content, we stream a full Windows 10 PC, so you can install games, Steam, Origin, anything, but also Photoshop, you can browse, you can watch videos. It's entirely your PC but virtualized.
That's awesome, because I've got a gaming laptop myself at home. It's got a Geeky Brummie, which was great when it first came out. But it's starting to get a little bit aged now, so it's got the AAA titles that's starting to fall back a bit. Can't play in full 1080p, so this sounds like a really cool service for somebody who doesn't want to upgrade as often as.
How much did you pay for this?
It's about $1,200 brand new.
Okay, not bad. You have an HP stream here. It costs about £200. We bought it at PC World like a few months ago. It's running 222 on max settings right now. We can even play on 4K on it if you want to, because it's running on Shadow. So any PC, more recent than 5 or 6 years, can run Shadow. And basically you can take any potato PC on eBay, or a Mac, or a smartphone, or an iOS device.
Yeah, so you're also available for Android, iOS, Mac OS.
Anything, Linux, anything.
And Windows 7 as well?
Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. But nobody uses Windows 8, I think. But yeah, basically any device can run Shadow and can run games.
Yeah. And it's a reasonably priced server, so how much are you looking for in the UK?
It's available for £26.95, but most of the people, so referral codes, can use Shadow for £16 for the first month.
Yeah.
It's of course commitment free, so if you don't like it for whatever reason, just cancel it. But usually people stay because they enjoy PC gaming.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for doing it.
Welcome.
So I've just had a quick hands-on with Ace Combat 7 for the PlayStation and Xbox One. Great looking game, I'm a big fan of the Ace Combat series, look really good. Unfortunately, I'm not quite the gamer that I once was, so I had a bit of trouble flying around. I think it was the inverse controls, but it looks great. I'm looking forward to playing it for the full game. The bit loud here to hear what's going on with the instructions you're getting. But I shall certainly be looking to pick this one up in February when it comes out.
I just played the Dark Pictures anthology Man of Medan. I've never know how to pronounce it. It's a new game from Supermassive Games. Same people who developed Until Dawn, and it definitely feels a lot like Until Dawn. Lots of very movie-like, lots of choices going on there. Pretty sure I made the wrong choice in that game. It seems very good, looks really, really amazing, but demo didn't really show a lot of actual gameplay, just a lot of game taking control and taking over for you. So it seems good so far though, but I need to see a bit more before I can get a good opinion on it, I think.
Here with Albert, who is one of the developers of Arca's Path VR. Do you want to explain the game for people who've not played it before?
Yeah, sure. So Arca's Path VR is a physics platform game where you control a ball around a series of levels, and you basically play the entire game just using head movements, so you don't have to hold any controllers, so it's quite kind of accessible, and it's got a sort of light sci-fi narrative that goes along with it, where the story begins and it shows you this young girl who lives on a scrap heap in this kind of dystopian future, and she finds this strange headset on the amongst all of the garbage, and she puts it on and it transports her to this magical world, and then things go slightly wrong for her.
Yeah. So it's coming to all major VR platforms, so it'll be on Oculus Rift, PlayStation VR, and the HTC Vive headset, which is what, Steam VR?
Yes, the Vive Focus,
yeah,
Oculus Go, Gear VR, basically all of them. Yes.
Yeah. So I've just had a quick play myself, and it's just so intuitive, the methodology, because as you said, it's all head-based, so it all tracks your head. I had my hands out ready for a controller because I've been through many VR experiences in the past, but it was just completely heads on, headphones over, and you're lost. You're in this world, and it's really interesting. And it's really interesting how well the controls develop so quickly. I mean, it must have took a lot of time to get that head tracking right.
Yeah, I mean, the technology is so good that it can really sense really tiny movements. So you'd think that like with a controller you'd have kind of high fidelity of control, but actually you get so much more precision with head movement, weirdly. Like, so you only have to move a tiny little bit to basically have the complete range of the movements that you want. So it's not like lots of VR games where you're kind of constantly having to move and dodge and like look behind you and you get really kind of tired or like a stiff neck quite quickly. It's just like really subtle and almost to the point where you kind of forget that you're moving a little bit. You kind of forget that you're having to move your head, and it's almost like you're kind of controlling it with your mind. I mean, that's what we like, is when you kind of forget you're controlling it and it just goes where you want it to go.
Yeah, I mean, it felt very natural. After a couple of minutes, I was just there, and as you said, the finesse of the controls, I could control the speed really easy. I mean, I noticed on the second level there's a few tricky bits where the walls disappear. So it's actually trying to teach you and make you learn that you can be really smooth and get your controls. And the speed control was really intuitive as well, because it's based on the distance you are away from the ball in the game rather than just thumbstick up and down or a trigger button.
Yeah, I mean, we basically tried it with hand controllers quite early on in the prototyping phase, and we just realised that the levels that we had been playing became completely impossible. It was just too hard to play it. So we kind of have to pick, do we do it pure VR, head controls, and we keep the levels that we've been making and that we like, or do we have to try and shoehorn some other thing in and it not really be, and then end up like, you know, neither of them are going to be quite as good, so we just we're going to go pure VR, release it on all the headsets, because there's no difference between the control system, it's all just head movement, so it works on all of them. And that was it felt like a good decision, I think, at this stage.
And again, accessibility, this is a great way for anybody to get into the game as well. I mean, it's very Zen-like experience, the way I describe it. As I said, you close yourself off from the world, but here at EGX it's quite noisy in the background, but it was kind of, as soon as those headphones on, I was lost in that little world. That's something that we're really we're really pleased with how that's turned out. It doesn't stay completely zen throughout the entire game, like when some of the other characters come in and it starts to take a slightly darker turn. But I think it comes at a good moment, you know. I think when the challenge increases and it kind of, the world becomes a bit scarier, it feels, you know. And when are you due for release?
4th of December.
4th of December this year, so just soon. In time for Christmas.
Just in time for Christmas.
So if you've got somebody with a VR headset and you want them to have a relaxing game rather than shooting zombies or getting lost in battle zone, something like that, this is probably the perfect introduction to get some people into the VR. And I said, probably the viewing experience. Keith, did you enjoy watching me play the game? He's silent. He's silent behind the camera. But it's a nice, intuitive experience. We were watching a little bit earlier, and it's interesting to watch other people play the game and just the visuals behind it. It's a beautiful visual game.
Great, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks very much for having us here in Geeky Brummie, and we'll keep an eye on the game.
Yeah, no problem.
So Lee, we just played Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I sucked at. What do you think?
I think it's pretty good. I've been a massive fan of the Smash series for years and years and years. And it definitely feels faster than some of the previous games. The Inkling, who I wanted to try out, really, really fun to try out, but kept forgetting that you've got to really stop the controller. The amount of times where I just start doing the roller and they'd just be limping along. Okay. So
my two character choices, first one was Link, who I'm usually pretty good at, but I couldn't get the speed on, it's too much bomb throwing with him. And the other one I went for was Ryu, which is always fun. Whip out a Hadouken, always annoys people.
Yeah, the other character I chose was Snake, and then remembered exactly why I sucked at Snake. Although it sometimes worked. Even though the entire time I was like, I'm losing this is just going badly, and then somehow I won.
But definitely worth picking up, really recommended. If you've played any of the Smash Brothers, you're going to love this one.
Yeah, definitely.
here with Sean Reid from VooFoo Studios, a lovely Birmingham-based developer. Always great to see you here at EGX 2018.
Thank you very much.
You're having your worldwide launch of your brand new game, This Is Pool.
We are, yes.
But so this is your third pool game, so you've done
It
Hustle
is,
Kings
yes.
previously and Pure Pool.
Yes.
But this is the first one that you're developing and leading yourself.
Yes, it's ours, yes. So, yeah, that's the big deal with us. I mean, Hustle Kings is, believe it or not, 10 years ago.
Wow.
Pure Pool, nearly 5. So, yeah, we realised that, yeah, we're coming out on the same generation as our previous titles, but 5 years is an awful long time in the video games industry, and technology's come on a long way. And because we're on our own technology, we decided for This Is Pool, it was time to redevelop our engine from the ground up. So This Is Pool is the first game that's taken advantage of our new tech. So it's quite exciting. Yeah.
So regular Geeky Brummie listeners might know you from Mantis Burst Burn Racing, which we pushed out. It's now available on the Switch as well.
It
if
is,
not
yeah.
picked it up.
Yeah.
So what consoles is This Is Pool coming to?
Everything. Our usual spread of consoles. So we're going to launch universally across Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and Steam.
Great.
Yeah. Slightly different to Mantis, but obviously Switch came later. But yeah.
And it's great to see it on the Switch as well, because I can imagine not very many mobile pool games are out there. Or
we feel there's a gap in the market on Switch, definitely. I mean, there's some what I would consider more fun, casual kind of pool games.
Yeah.
Whereas we're a little bit more leaning towards the realism side. So, as far as I'm aware, there's not one on Switch at the minute. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah. So, would you say this is the most realistic pool simulator you can get on any console?
On any console, yeah, it is. Yeah. So, we try and make. If you're going to make a pool game, then it has to feel like playing real pool. So. Like I say again, we've rewritten our physics engine as well, so we believe this is the most accurate simulation of pool you can get.
So it's now available on all consoles and on Steam, or is it coming in a little while?
It's available Q1 next year. Q1 across all platforms, a launch on all platforms at the same time. So.
Brilliant, can't wait to see it.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks very much. And where can we find information about VooFoo Studios?
Yeah, on our website, or where you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on all social media. As I say, we've got some guys now that just look after our social media. So you should be able to find us, no problem.
Awesome, brilliant. Thanks very much for
joining us. No worries. Thank you.
Thank you for joining Geeky Brummie here at EGX 2018 at the NEC in Birmingham. We're here on the Spider-Man stand, as you can probably see, a lovely Sony PlayStation exclusive. Go and get it now if you've not heard our review on the show. Don't forget you can find us in the week and everywhere on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Don't forget the Geeky Brummie podcast. And for now, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share if you enjoyed this video, or just tell us what you want to see us doing in the future. But for now, bye.